So the real question is, how can we, as entrepreneurs, health experts, and personal development gurus who want balance in our lives and aren't content to sit on the sidelines, limiting our full potential in body, connection, power, and wealth, help you live your full potential in life? That's exactly what we are talking about today. I'm Dr. Amelia.
And I'm Dr. Jeremy. Welcome to Transforming Self.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Transforming Self podcast. I hope you enjoyed our previous episode, but let's go ahead and go over our 4 core philosophies of transformation again. So the first one is body. Body is movement, nutrition, stress reduction, detoxing, chiropractic care, acupuncture, anything you are doing to your body to keep it performing at an optimal level. That's what we talked about last week. Connection is the next one. Are you connecting with those around you? Connecting with your spouse, your children, yourself? Connecting with your friends and family? Are you connecting with the people in your life and not allowing outside distractions sedate you and disconnect you?
Then we have power. Are you truly fulfilled and happy? Are you acknowledging your feelings, whether good or bad? Are you sedating yourself or facing challenges head on? This is all about mental well-being and spiritual health. The last philosophy is wealth. For some, this can be the most uncomfortable area of your life. Some of us believe we're undeserving of having money or financial success. Some of us don't even know where to start, whether it's investing or creating a budget. We're going to discuss what wealth really is, whether it's having extra time with your family and loved ones, and to connecting with financial freedom. Today, we are going to discuss connection, where we've failed, where we've had success in the past and present, and what we're doing now to connect on a deeper level. Amelia?
Let's talk a little bit about how you have connected in the past. So as a male, because I feel like with connection, it is a little bit different being a male and a female. So as a male, how do you feel like you've connected with people throughout your life? And how do you feel like you have maybe failed at connecting with people throughout your life?
Well, I definitely feel like being raised by a single mom when I was young, and yes, having a stepdad who was a wonderful father figure, I learned how to connect probably a little bit more on a female level, but I still had those male tendencies. So I think in the past, I was an extremely good listener. I was a good friend because I could connect and understand what others were going through. I think my mom instilled that in me. But yet, if something went wrong or something didn't feel right, I would really just close down and start disconnecting with people because I wouldn't want to face those uncomfortable situations. That's something I've struggled with. I've definitely gotten better with throughout time. Now, being a chiropractor and connecting with multiple people every day and really focusing on connecting with my patients, I think where I fail the most is when I come home because all day I've been connecting and listening to others, and I just don't do as good a job connecting with you or the kids sometimes. And I think I want to talk about myself for a little bit. I want to focus on me. And that's truly not the way to really connect with people. There's plenty of opportunity to talk about yourself and invite that conversation. But if you're not showing interest in others, you're going to lose that ability to connect.
Yeah. And I feel like, that can be really hard when you're with people all day to come home and, feel like you need to sit down and make intentional efforts to connect with those around you. So what are you doing right now to connect with, I don't know, maybe your wife, #me, or the kids, friends?
So right now, connecting with my friends and my children, the improvements I've made, I owe a lot to you. You've taught me a lot about this, but
thank you.
Having, especially with you, our time in the morning, having a cup of coffee, taking the dogs for a hike, and just making sure we're doing that when the weather permits, of course, going outside and taking those hikes. But also the fact that we have our planned dates that we're planning a month, 2-3 months in advance, and they're already on the schedule. We know it's going to happen. It's made a big difference just having that scheduled. You don't have to think about it. It makes it a lot easier. And with my kids, I have it on the schedule the same. We have our pre-planned dates. They're made. And once again, I just let them know. And they don't always work out, but at least it's on the schedule and we're making efforts. And every day, just trying to connect with each other, just making that a priority to say something nice to you, tell you how beautiful you are, to text my kids in the morning, just tell them good morning, have a fantastic day. If I forget to do it or I don't do it before they get up, I actually get a text from them, and it feels good. And I'm just making sure now that they're not in the house every single day, I'm still connecting with them. Friends, this becomes a challenge, and it's something I'm actually working on, and it's something I'm working on when we get into power too with fulfillment, making sure I'm filling my cup. Our friends, we have similar things we like to do, and I'm working on scheduling those things, scheduling golf outings. I need to make sure I'm doing that so I'm connecting with in that area of my life also.
It's really important to schedule, especially since we moved out to our farm, because I feel like we used to spend a lot more time with our friends, and then we moved out to our farm, and now we have farm animals, and we're always building something, it seems like, or doing something, or mowing something, or planting something. And so I feel like sometimes, this becomes our compound in a good way, and we don't leave, and we stay here, and we do things here, and we don't see our friends as much, and we don't connect with them. So I think, it's been really important to have our friends come out here. All their kids love the animals. We love hanging out with them here. And that's been a lot of fun here recently, to be able to have people out to the house and just connect with them and have bonfires and grill and, let their kids pet our new baby goats. That's been a lot of fun for me.
There is no doubt about it. I think if we continue to work on this, things are just going to become easier and easier. But the scheduling is the biggest thing. That it's already there.
Especially if you're busy.
For example, if we say date night's Friday, but we don't have anything scheduled, and we have a hard, busy week, it comes to Friday, we're like, what the hell are we going to do? Both of us just pause, we freeze. We're not really addressing the challenge in front of us because we're tired. Yeah. But if we already have those reservations at the restaurant, or if we have the massage scheduled, whatever Friday it is, we know we're doing it. And we get out, and you always feel better, especially once you get there.
Yep, even if you're tired. All right, so last question that I have for you. What do you do to connect with yourself? Because while it's important to connect with your friends, family, loved ones, patients, I think it's almost more important to connect with yourself and to connect with who you are, which I know this might kind of spill into power a little bit also, but connection with yourself is really, really important. So what do you do to connect with who you are?
Well, what I've learned recently, and once again, it's about scheduling and really writing down what my ideal week is, and knowing this can be daunting to some, and especially a person like me that I really like to fly by the seat of my pants. I don't like to schedule things in advance. Let's have transparency here.
I like to schedule things.
But that's made a difference, and things creep up with our busy lives. Once again, we have rental property, and we're remodeling, and things creep up. They have a problem over there, and all of a sudden I'm called to do it, and I drop everything. But recently, I'm like, no, that doesn't fit into my schedule right now. Here's when I can do it. And my gosh, that's liberating to say no and make it fit into what my ideal week is. And that allows me to do the things that I love to do, which once again, this is fitting into power, but connection and power really are a close thing. So I can go out and work with my hands. That's really what I love to do. And I can think about the things and address things in that space that I know I need to focus on. Well, Amelia, she is really good at this, and she's definitely had a head start on all this. So tell me where you've failed and had success.
Okay, so you say I'm good at it, but I don't think I always have been good at it. I am more of an introvert, and being in the profession I am in, I have to interact with a lot of people every day. And so it takes a lot out of me. And so like you, coming home from work, sometimes I just want to, cook dinner and then sit on the couch and maybe drink a glass or two of wine and watch TV and do nothing else. Maybe not talk to anybody else, maybe not talk to the kids very much. And I know that is me sedating. That's how I sedate, because I'm tired, because a lot of my energy has been drained. And so I have to really learn how to balance my energy with everybody else's energy. And, people who are more empaths have a hard time with this. They take on everybody else's energy, and they have a hard time drawing the line on what is theirs and what isn't theirs. So that is something I really work on, so I can connect more with my children and with Jeremy, is drawing that line in my office of energy and making sure I don't come home just wiped out and needing to sedate because I have nothing more to give inside of me. This took a long time for me to figure out and realize, and really one of the biggest things with me with connection was hiring a life coach and going through the process of figuring out who I was so I could allow people in. Because in the past, I would always hold people at arm's length away. Even Jeremy, when probably the first, 8 years of our life, I really didn't let him fully in because I was scared. I was hurt and I was hurting and I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to handle truly connecting with a partner. With the kids, I was always really good. I was, even though I was a young single mom, I was a really good mom and I connected really well with them. But with a partner, I don't feel like I connected very well because I was scared of being hurt. So once I was able to let down my guard and know that, people get hurt sometimes, and that's, kind of part of life. And just knowing who I was able to connect with you, Jeremy, on a deeper level. And so that's really, what I've done in the past to make sure I could connect, because you can't really have a good marriage if you're not able to connect. And that's something that we're going to talk a lot about, is how to have a good marriage, because our marriage hasn't always been great and our relationship has been a struggle in the past, but we're kind of at a point now where things are pretty smooth and it's nice. It's real nice.
Let's just share a struggle, just as I hear you talking, something I think about of one way we have not connected. We've done a lot better job of making sure we're spending individual time, we're talking, we're sharing our feelings more. But as I look at our core four, and something I want to say, if you do not pay attention to these core four philosophies equally, you will fail in all of them. So some are better at working out, taking care of their body. Others are great connectors. Others fulfill themselves. Some of us are really good with money, and we're really good with our businesses. But if we're not focusing on them equally, they will all fail.
Yeah. And together as a couple. If you're doing this as a couple, you have to do some of this together.
So one that I think we still struggle with, and I want to acknowledge this right now, and we have not had this. We're having this discussion for the first time, is when we get into wealth and budgeting. Basically, I built a mini empire in my mind before we met, and I held on to that very tight. I did that, pretty much obviously by myself. And we met, and I did not allow her into that. And she didn't really have a care. We look at money probably differently as far as dealing with it. So it was pretty easy at first. But that is somewhere we are not connecting, and we're working on getting on the same page with that. We haven't delved into that part.
We don't even have a joint checking account.
We don't have a joint checking account.
Which is okay.
When we have budget talks, it is very brief. I throw out a bunch of papers and show them to her, and then we end up talking about something else because it's intimidating to both of us. But I think this is something, we've built up this trust over time, and something we really need to work on, which is once again going to empower that connection just a little bit more.
Yeah. It'll just take that connection to a whole nother level. And I'm just as guilty as you are. I've kind of avoided it. We'll get into my money things when we talk about wealth, but wealth has always been very intimidating to me. So I have just avoided it and, not really wanted to deal with it. And I had gladly turned it over to him because he's really good with it. He knows what he's doing. And he shows me a budget and I'm like, I don't know what the hell that is. I don't know what that means. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, let's talk about something else. But we have some big goals for our life, and some of them won't get achieved if we aren't on the same page, if we don't connect in wealth. So yeah, that's a good observation. That's something that we need to be better at.
And before we get into, a little more if you will, guidelines on connection and maybe some homework for y'all, something for you to practice with your spouse if you have one, your significant other. And if you don't have that, friends and family in your life, we need a word from our sponsors.
Ah, yes.
And our sponsor this week is OO Bakes out of Lawrence, Kansas. Now, OO Bakes has delicious gluten, dairy, egg, and nut-free pizza crust, hamburger hot dog buns, cookies, donuts, cinnamon rolls, pretty much about anything baked you can think of. Also, they do take and bake pizzas. We do wholesale and retail right out of the store. So if you're interested in learning a little more about OO Bakes, where everything is made with fun in Lawrence, Kansas, you can check out their website, oobakes.com. You can check out their Facebook page and also check them out on Instagram.
I love OO Bakes. I keep their pizzas in my freezer because we have children who are home and we're at work, and the children that are home are teenagers and they can kind of fend for themselves, but it's easy to have something good and semi-healthy that doesn't have a lot of gluten and dairy and allergens in it for them to be able to make for themselves. So love their pizzas, love everything about them. Their sugar cookies, if you have not had their sugar cookies, are to die for.
Let's help educate our listeners on how they can set their lives up to connect better with others, and just share some of our processes that we talked about with them and give them a couple guidelines to follow.
All right. Well, first, you've already mentioned putting everything in your calendar. That is super important. And I know you don't like to schedule things. And I do. I really want to be the person who can just fly by the seat of my pants. But when I can't. I just can't. It's really hard for me. I get really caught up in what it's going to look like, which isn't always a good thing. So scheduling something out or not just having people come over to my house and not know about it until 34 minutes beforehand. Like if I know about it for 2 days, then I can make sure everything's ready. But putting it in your calendar is so important. So we put our dates in our calendar. Right now it's a little harder depending on when you're listening to this. A lot of restaurants are closed, massage therapists are closed, salons are closed, spas are closed, all those things are closed right now. So we're having to get creative and pivot. Yes. It's called an audible in football. So we're having to do a lot of audibles right now because our plans can't actually happen. Because we can't go get the massage, we can't go float, we can't go to the restaurant, but there are other things we're doing. We have kayaks, so we go kayaking, we make picnics.
Yes, go find a small lake, kayak for an hour or so, and then relax on the beach.
Well, we live in Kansas, so beach is a very loose term here. They do. We have a pond, so we'll go fishing. Like you already mentioned, we walk our dogs in the morning. But we put these things in our calendar. That way, if we're tired, we don't have to think about it. It's already planned. And we only have to sit down and think about it once a quarter. So we try to plan things quarterly. So for the next 3 months, well, I guess April, May, June, so for the next 2 months, we already have what we're doing in our calendar. So they're more likely to get done. I do the same thing with my children. My children are adults. My daughter will be 19 this week, and my son is 21. So I put lunches in the calendar with them. My son and I went to Seattle for his 21st birthday. That was in the calendar. That was planned. My daughter and I, we want to go to Colorado because she wants to transfer to the school in Colorado. So we need to figure that out, but we're not sure when we can travel again. But these things go in my calendar so they happen. What other strategies do you have, Jeremy, besides calendar?
Definitely we need to connect on all levels. And looking at your friendship to me is very important. It always has been in my entire life. But you get busy with your family, your spouse, your kids. That area of your life can really struggle. So you have to do the same thing. And if you have a friend that's like me who doesn't like to schedule, this can be troublesome. So same thing. Just plan that out. Make sure you're making time for that. Whether it's 2 weeks in advance or 3 weeks, but get it on the schedule with your friends too. And have social gatherings. That's a big thing. Moving out here on the farm, yes, we had all these grandiose plans, but sometimes we're tired. We're like, we don't want company.
But you know what? When these spur-of-the moment things do happen, even though it can be frustrating, I think it's satisfying when everyone leaves.
I can pivot. I'm learning.
We have a lot of fun with it. But we want you all to connect with us too.
Yes, we definitely do.
We want to know what's going on in your lives. We want you to join us on our Facebook page. We want you to comment. We want you to become part of our community. We really want to get to know you and help in any way we can to know what's going on in this world. So please go to our Facebook page.
Transforming Self with Drs. Jeremy and Amelia Rodrock. So you can just look it up on Facebook. You can join. We'll have a link in the show notes. But yeah, join, follow us, follow our personal pages, follow our office pages. Just connect with us, ask us questions. We want to help you succeed in life.
Again, we want to thank you for joining us today, and we want to encourage you to join our Facebook group. We want to connect with you, we want to hear from you, and we really want to get an understanding of what's happening in your lives. Our Facebook group is Transforming Self with Drs. Jeremy and Amelia Rodrock, and we're going to make sure and post that link in our show notes. Take care.
Bye.